What is up, home workout and bodyweight exercise fans? In today's video of Homemade Muscle, I'll be giving you 4 tips on how to maintain a healthy and youthful posture through calisthenics strength training, aka bodyweight strength training. Now, as we grow up, and even with younger people nowadays, due to bad lifestyles, our body starts to deteriorate. You start to kind of reverse into the initial posture you came into this world, the fetus position. So you're like this, hunched up, like your shoulders are closing in, you have like a stiff lower back, and these are like common problems that happen. Of course, gravity takes a toll on your body as well. And in terms of muscular skeletal issues, what happens is that your chest muscles become tighter, and your the muscles in the opposite side, the muscles between your shoulder blades, get weaker. So muscles such as the rhomboids, the middle trapezius, that would normally keep your body uptight and your chest open, they don't work as functionally as they used to. Biceps also tend to get stiffened up since you're like always in this kind of position. And triceps tend to get weaker. Hamstrings, especially due to our sitting lifestyle, get tight. The iliopsoas, this is another muscle that also gets tight. It ties up all the way in your lower back and attaches into the upper part of your thigh bone. So because this muscle gets stiffened up, it's kind of in a crossed position in your body, and because it gets tighter, it gives you that stiff lower back, where in the opposite side your glutes get weaker and your core also stops to function properly. So abs, the rectus abdominis, or the six-pack as people call it, usually also gets weak. And because you get all this messed upness in your core, you have all these lower back problems, and in general your posture begins to get really bad. So what can you do to reverse all this? So as I told you, I'll be giving you 4 tips today, starting with tip number 1: balance your vertical pull with your horizontal pull. Especially with fans of calisthenics, I see it so often that people overtrain their vertical pull, aka for example their pull-ups, and they neglect their horizontal pull, their inverted rows, for example. Now, inverted rows work on that middle part between your shoulder blades we were talking before that gets weak. And because of this, because you also overtrain the lats with your pull-ups, you also get this stiff lower back. Why? Because your lats, they might be a back muscle, but they also attach, they start basically from your lower back, and they also attach in your rib cage and your shoulder blades. So when this starts to pull, this muscle starts to pull, it can add to the problem of a stiff lower back. So you want to focus on strengthening that middle part of your back with a horizontal pull movement. Inverted rows are my favorite. You can either do this with a dip station, as I'm doing here. You can buy some TRXs or make your own and hang them off a pull-up bar. And the way you want to do this exercise is by elevating your feet once you get strong enough and keeping your body in a horizontal position with the floor. So once you can do that, make sure that you can do double the reps in inverted rows in comparison with pull-ups. Once you balance that, at least until you balance that, I would say neglect pull-ups. Just do them maybe once a week to maintain your strength, and work really hard on the inverted rows and make sure that you get double the reps there before you start reintroducing pull-ups in your weekly training program. Tip number 2 is, once you accomplish tip number 1, start balancing your pull and push movements. If you're overtraining push movements, doing all the time like dips and push-ups and stuff like that, you're going to overtrain the front part of your body, like your chest, and that's gonna, it's in this way you're going to neglect the posterior chain of your body, so your back muscles, and basically all the muscles in the backside that keep your body upright. So you want to make sure that for every pulling set you have a pushing set on a weekly basis. And you also want to make sure that you balance the horizontal and vertical pulling and pushing movements. Moving on, tip number 3, weighted lunges. Now this is my favorite lower body exercise, and why it's great for people that want to improve their posture and maintain a youthful body is because not only does it work on the glutes, the muscles we mentioned before that get weaker with age, and also can cause lower back issues and problems in the way that your core works. It also works on other things that you start to lose with age. Number 1, stability. It works on a ton of stabilizing muscles. It works on your balance, things that you lose as you grow up. Another thing that weighted lunges do is they basically maintain thoracic extension, because when you have a weight on your shoulder, as I'm doing always, you have to keep the chest open. You can't carry a weight like this. You have to be upright. So these are the reasons I really like weighted lunges. Moving on, final and 4th tip is proper core training. Now a lot of people do a lot of the abdominal training, but what they're actually training is the iliopsoas. This is the muscle we mentioned before that gets tighter. And when you're doing exercises, for example, such as leg raises, if your lower back lifts off the ground, what you're actually training is the iliopsoas and not your abs. And this happens in so many exercises. So my tip to you is start working on your leg raises again from the beginning. I know this seems like a really simple exercise to a lot of people, but if you do it with the technique mentioned above in this video, you'll notice what a big difference it makes once you take out the iliopsoas out of the game by keeping your lower back flat on the ground. Another thing to work on with core work is rotational movement. My favorites are wood choppers. When you are always training in this rigid frontal plane, you're never doing any rotational twisting movements, you basically neglect a very important function of your core. These exercises teach your core, the whole basically musculature around your hips to function properly, to fire up properly, and it also opens up the hip complex. So these are muscles here in your hip that are pretty tight as well due to our lifestyle nowadays. So in general, rotational movement is a really important and usually neglected exercise. In combination with some simple leg raises, if done properly, it can really help into improving your health and your posture. So these were my 4 tips for the day. Leave me in comments of the things you do in terms of bodyweight exercise to maintain a healthy young body. And until next time, keep on training.